Here we go.
Yeah. Mostly everybody does it and I always get frustrated. You hear me say this on this channel so many times. People do not set up properly for the kettlebell swing. And the reason why most people get away with it is because they're using light weights. Grüezi dran, Gregory von Lebe Stark here. The body coach was requested in our YouTube comment section. If you have anyone that I should react to that is kettlebell related, then let me know in the comments. If this is your first time on our YouTube channel, we're about all things kettlebell. We have been certified by accredited kettlebell institutions and we work with people in real life to help them discover the power and the potential of kettlebell training. I'm very passionate about the kettlebell, so if I am a little bit critical, it's not about bashing the coach. It's all about giving you an educational perspective on kettlebell training. So the first thing that I really like is his setup. He has only 5 exercises. He goes 5 rounds in a 40-20 Tabata system. Sometimes the Tabata system has a little pitfall, and that is the perpetuating idea of voluntary hardship. That means that people are always trying to follow the burn mentality. So it's like, if it doesn't burn, it's not good. And that's something that I sometimes believe is a little bit exaggerated. I believe there is a sweet spot. I like his exercise selection to a certain degree. I think something's missing. I like the squat, I like the swing, the reverse lunge, the Romanian deadlift. The lateral lunge, I don't like it because I believe it puts most people's back in a difficult position. I also believe it's very leg dominant. When you work with the kettlebell, of course, you work mostly in your midsection and in your hips. This is normal. However, what I'm missing is some overhead movements. I believe every good kettlebell workout has to implement upper body movements where the kettlebell goes into the top fixation and lower body movements where you work with swing, squat, etc.
Welcome back to the Body Coach TV and welcome to a 25-minute kettlebell workout.
What's going on,
mainly focusing on the lower body, so a lot of legs, squats, lunges, kettlebell swings.
Now, I was just critiquing the fact that he doesn't include overhead movements, and here he goes. He says, hey, listen guys, it's a leg dominant workout only, which is totally fine, so that makes my critique invalid. However, most of the time, I do tend to think that it's great to incorporate your full body when you work with a kettlebell, because I'm looking at it from the perspective of a beginner or of most people who don't have a lot of time or don't use and prioritize time to work out. So when they engage, I believe most bang for your buck always makes sense, so that you incorporate the full body when you start working out with a kettlebell.
40 seconds of goblet squats. Open up those hips. Let's go.
So we just did those moves with the legs to open up the hips. I always think it's great if you engage in any kettlebell training, unless it's like 5 or 8 minutes and you don't use a lot of weights. A proper mobility and dynamic warm-up, I believe, is always key for mostly everybody, because most people are tight when it comes to the muscles and so many areas of their body that we have to mobilize the body first before we engage in training.
Well, even the swings are going to be controlled, but that's a bit more explosive, but everything else is going to be nice and controlled.
I like that he points that out. He says, listen, the swings are more explosive, the rest is controlled. And we always like to categorize these two exercises. When you work explosively, in most cases with the kettlebell, you engage in the ballistics. And when you say you're going nice and controlled, it's more the grinds. As far as I can see, form-wise, it's all good. I think he knows that he engages in a front squat, so he makes sure that his upper body is straight. His knees are pointing out. That's good stuff. Let's go with the swing. Let's punch it.
Here we go.
Yeah. Mostly everybody does it and I always get frustrated. You hear me say this on this channel so many times. People do not set up properly for the kettlebell swing. And the reason why most people get away with it is because they're using light weights. When you start with the kettlebell and you start swinging, you will start engaging in ballistic exercises. Set up the kettlebell properly in the so-called triangle, where your feet forms the bottom of the triangle and the kettlebell forms the top of the triangle. We also call it hinge ready phase. So then you can grab the kettlebell, start swinging without wasting your first rep. He engages the hips, which is great, and just a few seconds before he showed how not to do it, he went down into a squat and explained to his viewers that you shouldn't do this, which is great. Now the kettlebells may be a little bit high. I think he uses a 12 or a 16. It's always good when you stop the kettlebell on chest level, otherwise it starts flipping. And as soon as he drops the weight, he engages in a solid hinge. Maybe what we could critique is when the bell drops, he engages in the hinge a little bit too early. You let your arms fall. You let gravity do its thing until your arm connects, and then you engage in the hinge. He goes a little bit too early, and that's one of the reasons why the kettlebell starts flipping on his glutes. As you can see, it starts dangling up, and you want to avoid this by improving your timing when the arm reconnects to the body. So reverse lunges, I like the way how he grabs the kettlebell in the goblet position. That's what he did in the goblet squat as well, which I think is cool because this engages your bigger muscles to stabilize the kettlebells, namely your chest. So he goes down, he's in a very nice angle, knees are 90 degrees, hips are 90 degrees, upper body is upright. That's totally fine. So that's good stuff, and he's very controlled. He makes sure that form is nice and safe. So then he engages in the Romanian deadlifts, and that's good. I think from my perspective, he has a very long femur and long tibia. So that's anthropometrics, which changes the way your body acts, because when you look at it, as you can see, his torso looks a little smaller compared to his long legs. This is just my observation. Yes, that's good stuff. So he's only hinging. When you engage in a Romanian deadlift, you want to work your hams as much as you can. Now, we could critique on the highest level and say, well, why engage in a Romanian deadlift if you're already working with a swing? Well, a swing just stretches your hammies explosively, and you work the muscle a little bit different than with a control move, like for example here in the Romanian deadlift. Now, I like that he now explains
back. Keep that back nice and straight.
That you're not supposed to round your back. This is good stuff. Yup. He's savvy, form is nice. So here he engages in the side lunges. Now, why am I not a fan of this exercise? I say it many times. I think most people, or some people, let's put it like this. Some people have banged up knees. And this may put your knee in a difficult position because when you go walk out laterally and you go down, there may be forces involved that act on your knee that may cause pain. And the other thing that may happen is for many people is if you go down into a side lunge like this, your upper body has to lean forward because your hips are pushing back. Then the weight in front of you is pulling you down, and this may be compensated from your lower back and may lead to pain as well. So that's the reason why I don't like the side lunge. So the reason why I chose this workout is because, as you can see, it sits at 1 million views. So I'm happy for him as a creator. And I'm also happy that he's portraying the kettlebell the right way. He chooses most bang for your buck exercises, nothing too fancy, just the basics. Yes, we can always talk about the ballistics because the ballistics improve in the fire of thousands and thousands of reps. And you have to know the proper technique and then engage in it, and then your technique will look better. On a final verdict, I'm always very keen on watching coaches who are really, really tight with their technique. For example, Kat's Kettlebell Dojo. She's a beast, and she honed her skills in the fire of these thousands of reps. Now in his case, I think he's not doing a bad job, but when I compare him to the big experts that I follow, that I look up to, I don't think it's on par. But that's totally fine because he's not engaging in any bad thing. He's not making any big fails or mistakes. So the body coach, my brother, more power to you. 2.77 million subscribers. Whoa. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it, consider subscribing if you want to see more kettlebell content. And if you're looking for a kettlebell program that builds you up from a beginner to a slowly advanced trainee in the course of about 3 months, and you maybe want to combine it with some easy to follow nutrition coaching because maybe you want to lose weight or you want to get in shape, then check out 90 Days of Kettlebells. You'll find the link in the description. 14-day free trial included.